everybody. Got an itchy eye. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. What day is it? Wednesday. Right. We're 3-4 days away from the return of Manchester United, the return of football, the end of the international breaks of this year, only for there to be another break in January. Although that's the winter break, not an international break. But the international break is, I think, now over. I don't think there's any more games. We've got football coming back soon. I'm going to try and be as cheery as I can be today on the day which is the 1-year anniversary. Anniversary? Is that the right way to describe it? I suppose it is. The 1-year anniversary of the Glazers releasing their statement saying that they're looking for strategic alternatives. Yet here we are, still waiting as a fan base for the takeover to be announced. I will briefly discuss that a little bit later in the show. We're going to be focusing today on a really important vote that happened yesterday among Premier League clubs to vote against the ban to stop players moving between clubs that are owned by the same people. That might have a knock-on impact on Manchester United's ability in the next few transfer windows, maybe in January. We're going to be speaking about Thuram and Todibo from Nice and just that whole thing overall. Then we'll speak a little bit about the takeover. Then we'll speak about the international break, a little bit of a roundup, who's qualified, who played. Pellistri played last night, got a little cheeky assist. By India played as well, could be making his debut at the weekend. And then we'll speak about a story coming out from Jamie Jackson about the players being overworked. It's not the first time I've heard that. And I'll be honest, it's probably true. There are so many contributing factors to Man United's poor start to the season. We'll speak about that. And as always, you're going to let me know what you want to say in the comments. All right. Who's here from the member gang? T, good morning to you. Daisy, Diego, Ant. We've got Neil. We've got Greens galore down here. Saeed, Natasha, Gaminda, off key. We've got Carl and Paula and Josh. Rego, Devils, and Chris Dyke. Good morning to all of you. Who's on Facebook? We've got Christopher Barra. Good morning to you. Idris Ibrahim. Cody Lee. We've got Chris Wynn, we've got Josie Graydon, we've got James and Stuart John Joseph Pirazzo. Look at that. Good morning to everybody. Hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoy the show. I'm so looking forward to football again. My God, these international breaks, it happens every year, man. It's just like the cycle of football. It's like you're so excited for football to come back. Happens in August, the buzz is there. Then the international break comes around in September. Don't worry, come back again. 3 weeks later, we're back in another one again. That's right. It's nearly over now. So, what do you mean there's another one? We're coming out the other side of it finally. It's just, I think what's compounded the international break frustration for United fans this time has been the fact that we were told before the international break started that the announcement was going to be made. We were going to hear something, and then it was Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral, and there was it won't happen on Monday, but it will happen next week. It's going to happen on Monday. It's going to happen on Monday, and then that happened, and then it's going to happen on Tuesday. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's happening. It's going to happen on Wednesday, and it's just more delays, and we'll speak about that a little bit later in the show. But I want to focus the beginning of the show on this. Yesterday, this is a really important moment, I would say. I'm sure this won't be the last time this vote goes to the clubs. Maybe it is. I don't know how the rules work, actually. But Premier League, as you see here, Premier League clubs have voted against the ban on clubs loaning players from within the same ownership group. So that I know. Apparently, it's not going to happen. I think David Ornstein has said that Ruben Neves is happy. Is it Al Hilal? I think it is. No, it is Al Hilal. I think they're currently top of the league. I think they are anyway. So that means in January, in theory, he could just go on loan from Al Hilal to Newcastle without anything having to happen because this has been blocked. And the interesting thing is, right, these are the clubs that voted to block it, right? So you've got Newcastle. Of course, Newcastle are going to vote against it. Sheffield United, who I believe are owned by a Saudi prince. Surprise. City voting against it. Oh my God, I can't believe City voted against it. Chelsea, yeah, there's a couple of them. I'm like, why on earth? Why on earth are a couple of these teams voting against it, voting to block it, to block the ban from coming in? Now you can see from that Manchester United didn't vote to block it. And I personally think this should have gone through, man. Again, every single day I come on here and I moan about the way modern football's going. Sorry. But here's another moan. Multi-club ownership models, I think they're in no way, shape, or form good for the game. You're just going to see what City have done with the City group, and they're just going to keep sweeping clubs up and putting them under the umbrella until you just got this conglomerate that just dominates every league. You've got Chelsea. Who did they buy? Was it Stade Rennes? I think it was. I can't remember. There was a club that they bought in France. I would much rather that this got blocked. I would much rather that transfers between clubs who are owned by the same people or under the same ownership umbrella cannot transfer between each other. I just think it's a massively unfair advantage. Strasbourg, is it Strasbourg? Montpellier? You're all throwing different clubs down there. So knows which one it is. But I know that they bought Chelsea bought a French club. It's just another. Really? This is the way we're going? Fantastic. Strasbourg. Quite a few of you are saying Strasbourg now. Okay, right, there you go. I mean, sod knows how many clubs Man City have got under their umbrella. Well, they've got an American team. They've got Melbourne. They've probably got a few. They've probably got plenty more as well. It's a real shame. But what this, of course, does is leave the door open for Manchester United. And I want to have a conversation here this morning about two players, right? I think one question I would ask, again, I don't know the clarity on this. Even if this rule went in, maybe it wouldn't have actually blocked Manchester United and Nice from dealing with each other, because Jim Ratcliffe, if he comes in, is not going to be a majority owner. So would this rule have blocked any sort of, or does it have to be the actual owner, the majority owner? I don't know. I don't know that part. But anyway, Kefren Thuram and Jean-Claire Todibo. Nick, you're going down there. You don't want Todibo. I've never said that. I've never said that. I have said that I would have preferred if this ban was put through. I think from a competitive perspective, it's going to benefit the minority. And I'd rather see it more of a level playing field in that sense. Right? And that's just my personal opinion on that. Right? When it comes to these players, well, this what I'm going to do, right, by the way, user watching from Malaysia, how you doing, man? My immediate instinct on that, geez, I'm losing my mind here. I'm trying to read the comments down there. I'm going to do my lunchtime video on this today because I think it's a genuinely interesting conversation around the concept of Thuram and Todibo and whether Nice would do it. My immediate instinct is, why on earth would Jim Ratcliffe take two of Nice's best players, or one of, don't really matter, away from Nice when they have finally cracked it? And this is where you come into the difficulties of multi-club ownership, because to the benefit of Nice, Thuram and Todibo would stay there. To the benefit of Manchester United, Thuram and or Todibo, or both of them, don't remember, Todibo, one of each, or one or both, coming to Manchester United would benefit Manchester United. My instinct is saying, wow, and that would be a very strange decision, really, from Ratcliffe, right? What do you think about it? We'll speak about them individually, but what do you think about the overall Do you think there's any chance it happens in January? I want to know what you think in the comments. And you said, look, dude, you're so spot on with that comment there, man. Guaranteed. I think we actually saw, didn't we? Chelsea tried to buy. Was it when Chelsea bought Enzo Fernandez? Didn't they try to buy part of Benfica as well? You just watch it. Chelsea will have somebody right now in the background finding out exactly what club Benfica are getting all their players from, and they're just going to go and buy that club instead. They're going to go and buy the club that Benfica are finding all their players from, and then just kind of skip down the line. Trust me, this multi-club model is just, it's crap. It is so crap for the independent, competitive nature of how football should be. Because it's about power, it's about money, it's about capitalism. It's just the example of it. It's just football is getting invaded by it because they've allowed business to come into football. They've allowed these huge owners to come into football, these states to come into football. Now football is completely different for a lot of these clubs because of who their owners are. I don't like it. I do not like it at all. And honestly, it really, really isn't just old man moaning, oh, back in my day, like, oh yeah, you could have got away with that tackle back in my day. I'm not even talking about the football. All my problems with football, and actually not all my problems, the majority of my problems with modern football have absolutely sweet FA to do with the football. It's to do with everything off the pitch. And the corporations that have come in, the business that have come in, and how business has invaded sport and taken over. And it's it's really sad, I'll be honest. It's massively sad, and I think it's only going to get worse in my lifetime, because I don't know how you stop this train that they have started. Let me see what you're saying down there in the comments about January. Ross, you're saying make it happen in January. Double deal is needed. Would like to see Todibo. We'll only sign loanees. Well, this is the thing, right? There is a chance where, for example, let's speak about Todibo. Todibo is a name who was on Manchester United's list in the summer. Had the Harry Maguire move gone through, I would hesitate to guess that Jean-Claire Todibo will be a Manchester United player. I think at that time we were linked really heavily with Benjamin Pavard as well, before that kind of died off a little bit. But Todibo this season, he has matured. He really has matured. And Nice as a team have matured. As I said, I'm going to be doing a video on this, right? I've done a video previously on the problems that there have been at Nice under INEOS. And there's quite a lot of them, right? You want to go and check that out? Go and check that out. I ran through and detailed all the problems that they had from the very beginning, from Bob Ratcliffe, Jim Ratcliffe's brother being brought in. I think he was the CEO. I think he was the CEO when he got brought in. Either way, he got booted out when Brailsford did his audit. There were problems with who they brought in. There were problems with who they got rid of. There were problems with the strategy that they had. There were problems. Nice in these last 12 to 14 months have really turned things around, and it is not a coincidence. It is the product of the audit from Brailsford, the problems that have been spotted, not solved straight away, because Brailsford, because they got rid of the last sort of sporting director last summer, and there wasn't enough time to get a new one in. I think it was Ian Moody who was brought in by Dave Brailsford. They worked on transfers together, and then Nice ended up signing like Schmeichel and Ramsey and all these old boys. It didn't work. Last season was a catastrophe. However, everything that's in place now at Nice is working significantly better. So it definitely deserves a video. There's going to be people going, oh, you can't make content these days without people saying you've got some sort of mad agenda. Oh, you're pro Glazers, you're this and that. And it's just like, do you ever get bored of this, like the nonsense comes out your mouth? Which probably a lot of people say about me. But I think it deserves a video, because I think INEOS have shown that they've got something right in these last 16 months at Nice, when they got so much wrong. That's what I need to do. And you're saying, question for me is, do they improve our starting 11? Yes. Yes. I'd explain why in a little bit more detail in the video that I'm going to do at lunchtime today, because this is one of those situations where it's an easy link to make, right? Oh, Man United, INEOS, might own Man United, might own Nice. Okay, well, so you're saying that clubs are free to sign players in between the clubs? Goes right. So what you do is you go to see what Nice are doing in the league. Oh, look at that, Nice second in the league. Oh, who are Nice? Some of Nice's best players. You go, oh, come on in. So look at Catherine Thuram and Jean-Claire Todibo. So from a lazy perspective, you might just say, well, just go and sign Nice's best players brilliantly. But this is one of those situations where that's been done. But at the same time, from a profile perspective, and you know how much I'm pushing this because I think it is how Manchester United's transfers are going to be operated over the next few years, right? Todibo is kind of exactly what we need at right centre back. And when we had a conversation, I think it was it yesterday on the live show? What was the thing that I was saying that Manchester United were missing the most in midfield? See if you can remember. Anybody who joined in, I'll let you answer that for the next 10 seconds, and I'll go down there. Steve, how you doing, man? You gifted 5 memberships. I also saw that you managed to get onto the Discord. I'm very happy about that. Welcome aboard, sir. And can I just say on the Discord, everybody, the new mods are really getting involved. We're going to be starting quizzes on there. I've got loads of shirts down there to give away. We're going to be doing trivia. I'm going to be doing some more Q&As. The arms is going to be back before the Everton game. Please join the Discord. It's honestly for your own benefit. If you're worried about it, go onto the community tab on YouTube. There's a video there from me, which is a bit of an explainer. What is Discord? How does it work? Once you come in there's a welcome channel. The mods will guide you through. Please come in. Now, look, I can see down there, quite a few of you have been saying it. Andrew, Carl, Robert, Highwell, Oshana, Kagotso, and Chief Warthog. You're all saying it. Ball carrier, right? Ball progression. Catherine Thuram is in the 98th percentile for ball progression this season from midfield. This dude is a ball carrier. This dude can take a ball and without passing it to anybody, progress it 10, 15 yards up the pitch. Is he a complete midfielder? Nope. He's 20. You can see exactly why. I think Liverpool were in for him before they ended up going for Gravenberch. He's one of those midfielders. Kagotsi saying no afternoon video yesterday. Yeah, there wasn't a video because I'll be totally honest. Like I can see and I can sense the apathy among United fans right now. Yesterday, I wanted to do a video on Farioli's interview with Ratcliffe that genuinely would have given us a bit of insight into how Ratcliffe operates as an owner, as a leader. And I just knew that nobody could be bothered to hear that conversation right now because it's the middle of the internet. Well, it's near the end of the international break now. The takeover's still being delayed. Everyone's just angry, pissed off. Jonathan's saying, how do you get an alert on FB for your afternoon videos? Dude, YouTube is so much more friendly for creators in that sense. Facebook tried to sell this idea that, oh, we're creating this space for creators. And I try my hardest on there, but it's just not anywhere near as intuitive and easy on Facebook compared to YouTube. And that's just the truth. It will never be as good a place for a creator community like ours on Facebook, no matter what they do, because they really aren't doing much anymore. So that's unfortunately a problem. And you know what I think about this as well, right? So we can speak about, why would Nice agree to these? Well, it'd be down to Jim Ratcliffe. He's the owner of Nice, right? So it'll be down to him. But at the same time, I'd be like, well, one sec. Nice, you looking for a striker? Anthony Martial would surely love the idea. Love the idea of going back down to the south of France. Obviously, it came from the Monaco Academy. Nice is just a little bit across there. And who would say no to Jadon Sancho going on loan to Nice? Going down to the south of France, being involved in a title race in League One. Yeah? Huh? No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So if they can scratch our back, a couple of scratches, we'll scratch your back. And people are saying, oh, Sam, we can't let Martial go. Look, Højlund's injured right now. We'll have no strikers. Yeah, I genuinely do not think, I swear on my life, Martial leaving Manchester United in January has zero impact on us for the rest of the season. It has zero impact. Martial, Rashford can play through the middle, play Garnacho on the left, play Pellistri on the right. I do not think we will miss Martial. Sorry, Martial. And yeah, mate, south of France, Nice, lovely place. Go on, lads. So yeah, January, if you fancy letting Thuram come to us, bring Todibo too. We'll give you some swapsies. Lovely. Stephen, they won't pay their ridiculous wages. I know that. We'd have to part pay it, but stop that. Part pay it, get them off the books, bring those in. Easy peasy. Well, it's not easy peasy. But it's at least a it's at least a conversation that I think would be interesting to have at lunchtime today. Because yeah, as I said, that on paper they might just look like some of Nice's best players. And it's like, oh, that's just like a convenient thing. But it's like, nah, trust me. It's they actually would be two very good players for us. Todibo, no, actually both individually, really. The ball carrying from midfield of Thuram and actually having a really athletic, progressive defender in Jean-Claude Todibo. If we can being completely honest, the biggest problems that we've had centre back this season have actually been on the left side of centre back. I think Maguire's probably been, I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but he's probably been our best player this season. Didn't really say much to the rest of the team. But we have been abysmal at left centre back. Really have. Without Martinez there, without Luke Shaw as the backup. Johnny Evans has had a couple of good games there. Lindelof has not really done much there. We'll see. Ricky Todibo is definitely a right centre back. More, yeah, you could bring him in and play him left centre back, but that's not where he's been playing for Nice. And that would just kind of be pig United to bring a player in and then play him somewhere completely differently. What's going on here? Jay, Sam, how can you even talk about anything else other than the fact the Glazers are still there and that whole takeover bullshit? Jay, I'm quite literally about to speak about it now. And it's incredible. It's just everyone. Jay, you've thrown that comment in there. And before I went live, somebody else was like, well, I'm not joining in today. How can you possibly speak about the takeover anymore? There's nothing else new to say. And that's the beauty of the internet. And when you create a community like this, and everybody's got their opinions. And by the way, always feel empowered enough to put your opinions in. One quick message to the mods on YouTube. Carl, I think it was yesterday. I saw you delete a comment that was, I think somebody was talking about like Ratcliffe leaving, but they put like a caps, like one word was in caps. You don't have to worry about deleting those. The only reason I say don't use caps in messages is if somebody was to fire in a message which was pure caps and nothing else. If somebody uses a caps word, that's not a problem. All right. But yeah, if you can, fire any comments throughout the whole show. But look, let's speak about, well, how can you not speak about it? Right. It is 1 year on. Nearly precisely. At 9:30 tonight, it will be 1 year on from this statement being released. And nothing's happened. Strategic alternatives to enhance the club's growth. All this smoke and mirrors and delays and delays and delays. It's not enhancing the club's growth in any way, shape, or form. It's stunting our growth. It's destroying progress for the sake of greed. So that statement itself is complete lies. It should read, Manchester United announces process to explore strategic alternatives to enhance how much money resides in the Glazers' pockets at the expense of the club's growth. would have been a fairer way to describe what we've seen. Now, this is the truth. Today is Wednesday, 22nd of November. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving in America, which means that the New York Stock Exchange is closed. So, unless there is a statement released today confirming a 25% INEOS takeover, that will not happen tomorrow. Now, the New York Stock Exchange does open on Friday on reduced hours, kind of a half day. So you kind of be surprised. You kind of be surprised if it happened on Friday. Therefore, if we don't get a statement today, we're very unlikely to get anything before Monday. That's the update for you on the takeover. It's a year on. And it's so painful, man. It really, really is. I don't really know. I don't know what to say about it anymore. There is nothing you can say about the takeover that will be like I don't think so anyway. That would be like a new opinion or just a new angle. We have covered, as I said, it's been 12 months since I came on here. I think we cracked. I remember I came on here. I was buzzing. I cracked a can. We were having a good time. We were having a good time. And we are here a year later, and the champagne still hasn't been popped. It won't be popped. You can't pop champagne for Jim Ratcliffe buying 25% of the club. As much as I think there is reason to be optimistic about that, I can't pop champagne. I can't pop champagne about it. All right. And I won't pop champagne until the Glazers have nothing to do with the club. And truth be told, I have no idea how far off that is now. I like to think that Ratcliffe will have those provisions inside this 25% takeover that give him the option to buy more shares down the line, but we won't know the timeframes around that. It might mean that in 12 months' time, if X happens, then Ratcliffe can buy X amount of shares at X price. Or it might be that in 3 years' time, Ratcliffe can buy X shares for X amount of money. But we don't know that. You can speculate all day long on that if you want. I imagine he'll have some sort of provisions in it. I'm going to read what you're saying down here in the comments. Sam, you sound depressed. It's depressed. It's just there's only so far that the conversations can go. There's only so much you can say, and only so much you can do. The 1958 have organized protests the entire way through, but nobody has got a thicker skin or just an ability to block out the noise, even if the noise is completely justified, which it is, and completely true, which it is. They have an incredible ability just to ignore everybody, even if they're wrong. And it's just driven by personal greed and personal gain. Money, ladies and gents, it can ruin people. It can warp their mind to the point where absolutely nothing else matters in life. Doesn't matter if friends and family. Don't know, millions of fans around the world. I don't care about them. All I care about is how many pounds I've got in my pocket. Or should I say dollars? Let me see what we're saying down here. Apparently nothing happening until next week now. Well, I've just explained all that. Unless we get a statement today, then there won't be anything until Monday. And you're saying, can Joel and Avram control the other siblings choosing to sell their shares, though? And up until this point, and this is where things are changing, right? But again, we don't know completely. Prior to Ratcliffe and this 25% takeover that's about to happen, any Glazer that wanted to sell shares had to convert them to A shares and sell them on the open market. That's what Avram's done. That's what a couple of the others have done as well. And they couldn't, and they were not allowed to sell those Class B shares to anybody else. It was written in the provisions. It was written in how they created this Class B structure, where all the power and the ownership goes. One of the rules and stipulations was you are not allowed to sell these Class B shares to anybody else who doesn't have a surname of Glazer. That was a rule that they wrote in. And this is going to be the start of the switch away from it, right? Where Ratcliffe's actually buying some off them. So the rules are going to have to be changed, which goes to show you that the rules can be changed. But I don't know if... I personally doubt that Jim Ratcliffe can just, I don't know, just get Darcy's number. How you doing, Darcy? Yeah, oh yeah, no, Joel's a prick. Yeah, Avram's a prick as well, yeah. I hate those. Anyway, you fancy selling some shares? I've got some money for you. I don't think he can do that. This concept, you read it there, like divide and conquer. It makes perfect logical sense, but I think the rules of how the shares go will block that from happening, which means the only way that Jim Ratcliffe will be able to do it, first of all, he can buy out all the shares on the open market. You might say, Sam, that's worth nothing. But if Jim Ratcliffe owns 25% of the Class A shares, right, then 75% of them still exist. And he could buy all 75% of them. Now, that would be 39 million shares. Okay? Now, you know full well that the Class B shares have 10 times the voting rights of Class A shares. So if he bought the Class A shares, that would give him the equivalent. If he bought 39 million Class A shares, that would give him the equivalent of another 3.9 million Class B shares, big powerful shares, which would then put his ownership up to, what would that be? The equivalent of 31 million. It's just this and that and this and that. Hey. I don't know. I don't know how the full takeover happens. I don't know when it will happen. I don't even know when this would takeover will happen. But I'll tell you one thing will happen. It's just going to get delayed more. More and more and more and more and more. Our January transfer window definitely will be impacted. Sod knows how much we're going to have to spend. But maybe we don't have to spend anything. Huh? Maybe we just go, do you fancy a little bit of swapsies? All right? We'll have Thuram on loan. We'll have Todibo on loan. You can have Sancho on loan. You can have Martial on loan. It's not exactly a like-for-like swap, but man, Sancho would surely be a great player at Nice. And there's every chance that Anthony Martial, you think of all the places where Martial could be happy? Surely going back down to the south of France where it all started for him, back into the climate, back into the local region. Surely that would be a place where Martial goes. I imagine that would be a very good move for Martial. And there'll be people going, oh my God, I can't believe it. Let Martial go. Look at him fly. It's never happening for Manchester United. It is never happening. At this point, we can say that with complete confidence. Let me see what you're saying down here. Jarvis Cocker saying, why would he buy more Class A? Don't think he should buy any Class A, really. But Class A shares give the Glazers more power over him and his investment. Not a smart move, because if you buy, as I said, if you buy 39 million Class A shares, you own more of Manchester United, first of all. Second of all, you then get another equivalent of 3.9 million Class B shares. And there'll come a point as well. I don't know what the rules are for publicly listed companies, but a little bit of a history lesson here. The way that Manchester United was bought by the Glazers is they swept up shares. They bought out a shareholder here. They bought out a shareholder there. Did they buy shares from Martin Edwards? I can't remember. And it was when they got the shares from McManus and Magnier after the Rock of Gibraltar. That's when they had the ownership. I think once you reach a certain threshold, I don't know what that threshold is. I reckon it's like 75%. You get, then at that point, it's like an obligation to then buy the rest. I don't know how that works anymore, and I can't be accurate with those numbers. But Jim Ratcliffe owning more of United, even if it is just a Class A stuff, won't be a bad thing. Mark is saying, Sam, are you doing a proper Christmas tree or a green screen? We've got to have a proper Christmas tree, man. Come on. Yeah, we'll bring the studio out for Christmas for sure. All right. Christmas coming up. I was thinking about it yesterday. I've got to start thinking about the giveaways we're going to be doing on here. Wonder what the big present we could do towards the end of the month. We'll do like a Christmas Q&A. We'll do a Christmas quiz. We'll do a Christmas booze up. Hopefully we can have some good fun in December. And football's going to be back. There's a lot of football going on. Was it last December was the World Cup, wasn't it? I'm very much looking forward to the INEOS announcement so we can at least move forward. All right? Because right now the conversations and the football club stuck in the mud. Right? Stuck in the mud. Ricky is saying, what happened to the monthly giveaways? I was doing the raffles for a good while, but truth be told, they just they stagnated. I think I did too many of them. Maybe I'll bring one back. Maybe we'll do a raffle. That's a good idea, actually. Maybe we'll do a big raffle. Maybe a little cheeky PS5. What? Hold on here. I'll think about it. See if I can get it done. But look, let's move on to... There's a few more conversations. We want to speak about the international break. That's finished. And a couple of more things. And also the idea that these players are overworked. And you can let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you can, drop a like in the video. You got Ra Baldy. You're saying, can't we do live Discord call, webcams and quiz? Trust me, dude. I have been working on that for so long. It hurts my head. Basically, me and United People's TV and the new software is like United and the takeover. But I promise I'm actually working on it. Sod knows what they're doing with the takeover. But the new software is where we can integrate Discord. Everything can become a little bit more interactive. I can get live call-ins far easier, bring you into the shows far easier. It's yeah. That's one of the weirdest comments I've ever seen. Do I make loads of weird noises? I do make. I am quite a weird person. I'll be honest. Jay, can you stop losing your mind down there, mate? My word. Come on, man. Jeez. Am I looking forward to the Glazers not having sporting control of my football club? Yes, I am. You can't understand that? You be you, man. You be you. Jonathan saying, don't become another TalkSport. The day I become another TalkSport, someone else can take United People's TV. You can own it yourselves. Because I'm staying true to myself. I think they've asked me on like 2 or 3 times now. I'm not going on TalkSport. Nor can I go on TalkSport. Hate what they stand for. The bile that they produce. The divisive nature of their content. The arguments for argument's sake. Sod TalkSport. Hate them. Anyway, this might be some really surprising news, right? Some really, really surprising news. So sit down, right? But apparently, the Griezmann transfer story was just all bullshit. I'm blown away. I had to sit down. I had to get a fan out. I started getting hot flushes because I was so surprised at the news. No, I'm not surprised by the news. We spoke about it earlier this week, and I was like, it just annoyed me that there were people having conversations about it. It's just like why? Like if you jump on it and feed it, it's just you silly gooses. Like be better people. All right, that's my take on it. All right, be better. What's the next talking point we've got up here? Right. Let's finish on, well, 2 things actually. We'll wrap up the international break and then we'll speak about the idea that United's players are fatigued, overworked. All right. These are all the players that are qualified for Euro 2024 so far. Bruno Fernandes, of course, and Diogo Dalot from Portugal. Diogo Dalot didn't play in the international break, so he should at least be... Dalot will be rested from a footballing sense, but his partner's just given birth, so he's been dealing with a newborn for 2 weeks. So odds are he got less sleep, despite playing 0 football. But there should be at least energy in his legs, even if he is fatigued himself. Rashford, I think, got a knock, but I think he was fine. Luke Shaw, well, he hasn't kicked the ball. Scott McTominay, you know what a mad stat about Scott McTominay? So McTominay has scored, I think, 7 goals for Scotland in 2023. And only 2 times in history have Scottish players ever scored more. And one of those players was Dennis Law when he scored 11 goals. There's another one. Someone called Steen, I think. Sod knows. Anyway, 2 of them. Dennis Law is one of the only players to have, one of only 2 players to have ever scored more Scotland goals in a calendar year than Scott McTominay. I was like, geez, man. Jeez. I was like, that's a hell of a stat. Fair play. A couple of players who played yesterday. Facundo Pellistri got an assist. And if you go and watch the assist wherever you watch it, on Twitter or YouTube or something, it was exactly the sort of assist that I think Ten Hag has been working on with this team from day one. Anybody remember the first preseason? There was one thing that our attacking team from built patterns and builds, building patterns. What do you what sort of type of goal do you think that we try to score a lot of in preseason? We did the same in this preseason, actually. Well, I won't. There's no point in me right now. I'll tell you, it's cutbacks. It's a winger going down the byline, beating his man, and from the edge from the byline, no, going down the line, and then on the byline, cutting it back to somebody who's about 7-8 yards out. That's exactly what Pellistri did for Uruguay. Núñez was in the right spot. Cut back, goal. So simple. So ridiculously simple. And United just can't do it. Because our wingers simply don't get in those positions. We've now got Højlund who gets himself into that position. But rarely does our winger beat his man and reach the byline without having 1 or 2 players sort of in front of him. So, congratulations to Pellistri for scoring that. Let me see what's going on. Oh, hello. Hello, boys and girls. We might have some good news here. Where's this coming from? 1 second there. Where's that coming from? Is that official? No, I don't know where it's coming from. So apparently, 1 second here. Anyway, Pellistri. Man, I like Pellistri. It's a bit. I'll tell you who's sort of brought the art back is Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku has brought back the art of a dribbling winger. Somebody who squares up to his man and goes, try and stop this. Boom. Just drop of the shoulder, swift feet, great movement, technique. He just beats his man. Just absolutely beats his man. And Man United, well, when it comes to Anthony, it's not part of his game. Anthony is a system player, right? Oh, yeah, there we go. Michael, look at that. Now, if this doesn't put a smile on your face, then I'm not sure what will. But here we go, ladies and gents. We've been thinking about that this was going to happen. It was supposed to happen, and here we go, right? Manchester United have received a major boost ahead of their return to the Premier League with Luke Shaw returning to action. Our cameras at Carrington have captured images of the left-back working with the main group. Now, that's a big thing, right? That is a big thing. Luke Shaw training with the main group, because he could have returned to training but have been maybe just working on his own in a sort of an isolated group. But the fact that he's training with the main group means he's probably closer to a return than maybe we thought. See, we're going down there. Fellow left back Malacia has also been left out injured. Is he back in training? Don't know what's going on there. What's being said? United have a few other injury concerns. No other news there, but big news. I want you to answer this in the comments, right? If Luke Shaw is fit to face Everton, I don't know. Would he be fit to face Everton? Maybe not. Where do you think Luke Shaw comes back into this team? Do you think he starts at left back, or do you think he'll start at left centre back? I personally think we'll see him start at left centre back. I think that's been the, well, I'll be honest, left centre back and left back, both of them have been the big issues for United this season. But as long as Sergio Reguilon is fit, then I think you're probably likely to see Reguilon at left back, Shaw at left centre back, Maguire as probably right centre back, and then Wan-Bissaka or Dalot at right back. I'll go down there and see what you're saying. Nick, you're saying left centre back, probably will see Varane back with him. Now, that could well happen as well, because we know that Varane last season with Martinez was easily our best centre back partnership. Reguilon at left back, left centre back if Reguilon is fit. Better for him to get. That's actually good. That's a really good point there from Josh. It would be a bit of and from a fitness perspective, it would actually be a bit of an easier reintroduction to come in at left centre back rather than left back. Playing at left back, you know full well that in probably of every position in the modern game, the fullback is the one that probably physically you have to be. Well, it's the hardest. You have to bomb it forward. You have to be back in position, and you got to do that up and down. Left centre back, it's a lot more static. So I think that's actually a really good point. Varane is gone. Erik ten Hag for all that. He's not, man. No, Varane, for whether you agree with it or not, all right, the reason that Varane's not played has been a lot of it is tactical reasons, because Ten Hag loves his passing angles. It's why he doesn't like playing Maguire on the left as left centre back, because Maguire's nowhere near as comfortable with the passing angles, because he likes to pass it. He likes to open his body up to the right foot, so he's got the angle for the diagonal. If you're doing that at left centre back, you do that, you're just booting off the pitch. Therefore, you've got to open your body up differently, and the passing angles are different. And Ten Hag is clearly a big believer of that. You might disagree with it, right? He's the coach, and that's what he believes in. But Luke Shaw being back, man, that is finally some good news. All right? What we're saying down here. See if there's any more news. What tactics have you seen except us giving up possession and making 300 passes in our own half every game? You've seen, James, okay, same games that you've been watching. You've seen these last few games, how Maguire's passing clearly has been one of the actual strengths that we've had in these last few games. You might not want to admit it, but cool, I'll admit it for you instead. Maguire's been doing that from right centre back. He's never been good as a left centre back, really, for Manchester United. I think he played there for England. I think he got, to be fair, he was pretty decent, but who would they play? Sod knows. Anyway, Luke Shaw's back in training. Doesn't mean necessarily he's going to be fit to face Everton or Galatasaray or Newcastle, but geez, that is such a mad trio of games for Luke Shaw to come back to. In their own rights, 3 very hard away games. Everton right now on a run of form of 3 wins and 1 draw in the last 4, and then they got docked 10 points, and then it's a game at Goodison Park. Their whole club is going to be G'd up and fighting for it. So if United don't go there, and we won't, all right? We know full well, we can predict with quite a lot of accuracy that Man United will be slow at the start against Everton. It happened after every international break under Erik ten Hag so far. Maybe there's like 1 or 2. Maybe there are a couple of sort of exceptions to that rule. But in general, when there's been a break between United games, we're slow to get started again. So to go in at Everton, not a good start. For the game a few days later to be Galatasaray away when we have to win it, that's not particularly ideal. And then to go to Newcastle at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. Yeah, it's going to be a tough reintroduction. Anyway, last little point I want to speak about is this story from Jamie Jackson yesterday, right? Manchester United players believe poor start is due to overworking in pre-season. And it's just Jamie Jackson kind of speculating, kind of saying the story that we've all sort of knew. He's saying that no players have actually spoken to Erik ten Hag about it. Look, I'll read through what the article says with you, all right? A section of United's players believe that the team's poor start is down to Ten Hag overworking the squad in pre-season. They have complained of beginning the campaign feeling tired, feeling as tired as when they finished the last one. Those discontented include several senior squad members, understood that none have explicitly aired their concerns to the manager, but instead have explicitly aired their concerns to Jamie Jackson from The Guardian. That's an interesting concept there, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really interesting concept. Now, this is definitely true to an extent, right? It definitely is. Ten Hag is an intense manager. Ten Hag's training is intense. I would not be surprised if these players, from a training perspective, are overworked. I also wouldn't be surprised to hear that these players didn't enjoy preseason because it was long as hell. There are so many contributing factors to Man United's form this season. And I've run through them all. Do I have to do it again? Right, okay, we'll speak about the 63, 64 games we had last season, more than any team. The lack of rotation in there, that was kind of down to Ten Hag, kind of down to the fact they didn't trust the squad. The fact that we went so far in the League Cup, that we won the League Cup. Then we had the World Cup mid-season. And then on top of that, we then went and had an 8-game preseason, including going to America, and 4 games in 12 days, 8 games across 3 continents. So knows how many bloody games it was. What I was thinking, actually, I wonder how. I know that the preseason tour, of course, was the club's commercial push. Always was. Louis van Gaal wasn't wrong when he said that. I wonder how many of those games Ten Hag got in, because we played. What were the random one? We played some random ones. We played. Was it Leeds in Edinburgh? We played someone in Oslo, I think. Played someone in Dublin. That was on the same day as we played. Lons? Was it Lons at Old Trafford? Jeez, that's a hard pub quiz. Sod knows. I wonder how many of those games Ten Hag was sort of in charge of saying, right, let's add these extra ones in. And how many, we don't know that. We can only speculate on that. But there's so many mitigating factors. But there's a little line in this which I think, it kind of goes to show ambition. It definitely does. Look. This one here. That right there. During the preseason, Erik ten Hag is thought to have upped the intensity in training in an attempt to make United title contenders. Because that's what Ten Hag's ambition was going into the season. Okay, we finished 3rd last year. We won the League Cup. Good. There was a lot of progress that we made, right? Summer off. See you back at preseason. Then we work even harder. So it's not an unreasonable expectation. Ten Hag's demands on his players, I don't think, are unreasonable for what he wants his team to be. Because to be the best team, you have to be a set of Terminators in the modern game. The issue is these players are overworked, and that's not down to Ten Hag. That's down to modern football, which again is just getting worse and worse and worse. Don't worry though. Next year, all we'll have to contend with is more Champions League games. All we'll have to contend with is a Club World Cup. Is it? No, that's the season after. So this summer, I think, is Euros, right? Euro 24. Then the year after, where you think, finally, the players will get a summer off. Nah, sod that. You're going to play the Club World Cup, a brand new 32-team knockout competition, which I think happens in America. It's just like, piss off, man. Like, someone's going down, players are soft mentally and physically. Like, the physical demands on these players now is so much higher. It just keeps going up and up, up and up. And the fact that you are seeing so many injuries, 96% more hamstring injuries, more than 50% more hamstring injuries across the course of the last 4 seasons. The players are overworked. In football in general. And unfortunately, Man United's players are very much, well, they're still coming out of the lazy boy attitude, right? That era of just sitting there, kicking back, canning, watch it. I don't really have to hard work. Hard work? Come on. These injury problems are only going to get... Man United have suffered the worst. It's coming. For all the other teams, it is coming. It is on what Spurs are going to enjoy it now. Let's see what happens. They've lost 2 games in a row. It's all nice when it's all rosy, Ange. Huh? Let's see what happens when you have lost a couple of it. Well, let's see what comes on. Let's see what else. Anything I've missed. Last couple of minutes of the show, you know what to do. Fire in your comments or questions that I haven't answered during the show. A little bit of a roundup. We've got what have we got down here? Luke Shaw being back in training. That really is that's such good news. He's back in full training as well. We just don't know whether that means that he's going to be fit to face Everton. Would kind of strike me as a surprise that Ten Hag would put him back in, but we don't know exactly how fit he's been. He may well have been training really hard for like 2-3 weeks at Carrington behind the scenes, and United staff know far more than we do. So if he's fit to play, then he's fit to play. But I think a comment there from Josh is really quite an important one. You're probably more likely to see him start at left centre-back to regain match fitness and sharpness rather than playing left-back where you've really got to be doing those sprints. Complete injury update. No, Anthony, this show would last 400 years if I did a complete update. Masshorn, Sam, do you play Football Manager? Dude, I had to stop myself from playing Football Manager because if I did, you'd never see me on here. These shows would just like turn into a bit like little 10-minute shows where it goes, I was going to do the research for the show this morning. I was playing Football Manager instead. Sorry about that. Now, I don't really have much time to game. I miss gaming. I used to game quite a lot. I used to game professionally. Imagine that. Back in the day before it actually became a proper sport. Mum and Dad, to be fair, they did support me to a certain degree. But everybody, when I used to play games, it was always a case of it was seen as a bit of a joke. Because at that point, there wasn't really much money in it. Now there's millionaire gamers. Could have been me. Anyway, we're here instead. This worked out for me. What's your prediction for our league position at the end of the year? Ooh. Probably 5th. But you know what? Depending on what happens with the coefficient rules, say it quietly, but 5th place in the Premier League could get Champions League football next year. I think it all depends on the coefficient, on the performance of the teams in Europe. So United actually going further in Europe here would actually help our chances of maybe getting into the Champions League next year. How long do you predict before our entire defense is back? February? I think in February, we can realistically hope that Luke Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, and Onana will start a game together in the Premier League. Let's see what's saying down here. When did you ever do any real work then? It's all my mates say. What do you mean? Your job is United People's TV. Oh, it's not a real job. Welcome to the 21st century, man. Like, as much as I hate modern football, I like this part of modern football culture and the opportunities it is presented to me. What are you saying down here? What was the first PES you played? Geordie, what a comment. First PES I played, 2. First one I loved, 3. My favourite one, 6. I still think PES 6 is probably the best football game that there ever was. Because back when you played Pro Evo 6 at that point, there wasn't an online mode. Online didn't really exist. So you had to play Master League. You all started with the exact same 11 players. You'd all sign Oberfami Martins first. Standard. And then you go, mate, 99 pace, come on. You had to get Oberfami Martins first. And you played with like Castolo up front. You had Menander in midfield with was it Jimenez? I love that game, man. I love that game. I think my first football game was ISS 64. That was sick. Anyway, good times. 59 minutes. It is a long show today. But I'm going to wrap this one up. It's fun to do this one. This is why I want to do some more like Q&As. You can do some like informal stuff. The Arms is going to be open on Sunday, sorry, not on Saturday. The game's not on. It's going to be open on Sunday on Discord. Please join in. It's been a rough international break, all right? They always are rough. But it's been long and arduous. Today, I'm going to do my lunchtime video on transfers. We're going to speak about Todibo and Thuram, exactly how I think they could genuinely fit in and why it might happen. I'll speak about that. And then tomorrow, we can focus on the football. We start previewing the Everton game. And Luke Shaw, As I said, you want to take the big and best news coming out of this show today? Luke Shaw is back in training. Full training as well with the full team. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you all for your comments. I know it's been a bit long and arduous. We've done it together. If you can, drop a like on the video. I'll see you for the lunchtime video today. And I'll be here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So make sure you tune in. Take it easy.